Hi, I'm Alex from NIE, and I'm chatting to Emily. And what have we done, Emily? We've just finished, a couple of weeks ago, we did a week of R&D.
Yes, in the Surrey Hills in a youth hostel, and there was 11 of us all together, and yeah, we spent the whole week there.
It was the first sort of time back, wasn't it? Like after the long sort of lockdown pause, and I guess we had a lot of concerns about how to do it and what it would be like. And I mean, the first thing was where, and we talked a bit about doing an R&D on a new family show in either venue or in London in a rehearsal room or in Cambridge in the Junction. But in the end, we thought it would be better to do it as a residential week in a bubble with the people involved. And so actually we found out that we could use a youth hostel, book the whole thing out, especially as that enabled us to use the outdoor space, and especially as we were really lucky with some amazing weather because it was so warm and sunny and so on. And yeah, we used the Youth Hostel Association Youth Hostel in Holmbury St Mary in the Surrey Hills in the middle of the countryside, which was lovely, wasn't it?
Absolutely beautiful, being basically in the middle of woods, in the middle of nowhere, with just wildlife surrounding you.
We did have to check it out with them, like, okay, we're bringing lots of instruments, we might make a lot of noise, but there really was nobody around, so we had the run of the place. And we had checked out a few other residential options, and that's the one that landed. And then I guess maybe do you want to say a little bit, Emily, about how we had to how we approached kind of safety and the artists and people's sort of concerns or at least that stuff?
Yes, I think obviously everyone's concern mainly was, we've all been on our own in our houses for these months of time, and it was a big thing to suddenly all come together and work together. And I think just from our side, we wanted to make sure that everyone felt as safe and as comfortable as possible. And in the end, the way we decided to do that was to pay for everybody to have a COVID test before we arrived, because we'd all been in this space together. And
yeah, so a good marker, didn't it, to say, okay, at least there's something we know that nobody is bringing, as far as we can tell, COVID to the meeting, because obviously we ended up eating meals together and sharing the same space and obviously sitting together and working together and still trying to do distance, but that felt like a really good way to say, okay, we know that we've got a baseline to start from.
Yeah, and then going forward, I mean, we wrote, a whole list of things that, we took more measures in terms of that cleaning, spent a lot of time cleaning things like the kitchen, high risk areas. But we were very lucky in many ways because we could work outside the entire week. If we'd had to be inside, we would have had to take a lot more of the measures that we'd put in place. But as you could be outside, we didn't actually have to, enforce as much as we might have done. Well, the main things were, like separate bedrooms, we isolated all the showers and toilets, just to avoid risk of like people crossing if they didn't have to.
Yeah. But the other thing we did, Emily was in charge of, was that we did also temperature checking.
Oh, yes.
We bought our own temperature gun. Is that what it's called?
It looks like it.
How was that, Emily, to zap everyone every day?
Yeah, so just before we started rehearsal, we'll just take everyone's temperature and just make sure no one's showing any sign of fever. But it was also an amusing way to start the day,
Right. How is everybody doing? And then you get zapped.
Yeah.
And I think, on reflection, one of the things that happened in the week was that it was clear how excited everybody was to get back together with people and get back to work. And certainly on the Sunday night into the Monday of starting up, there was some sense of trepidation and just getting used to that being back together. There was also that wonderful sense of, I think you and Jay got there first, and then I was there with Jodie, and then we had this kind of arrivals. It was like an episode of Cheers or the Happy Days when there were people coming in and everyone getting a big round of applause arriving, and that excitement of people being there and being together and doing some work together was quite special.
I think that's one of the great things about being in one place, because if we were doing London or something, you'd have everyone commuting in and out, but just to spend like a whole week of that time together and everyone just to be able to catch up and be creative and have that no pressure of people leaving,
There's something about their exposure, isn't there? If you're able to get together in a residential setting and work, Of course, that has problems of inclusion and access, but if it works for you, then that's different from people travelling every day in and out of a London or another town in public transport, or however they do it. It felt that we were isolated and we were, sort of safe in each other's hands, and that was interesting to notice, because I guess we've done that many times in the past. We've done residential bits of work as part of our R&D process, but this had this additional meaning because it was a response to the sort of COVID safety guidance and so on. Do you think that? I mean, maybe that's what everything we should say about it.
Yeah.
We were very lucky with the weather. We had a bit of a thunderstorm. We had one slight food nightmare. We had one person lost in the forest. Literally lost in the forest.
On Monday when we lost one for 30 minutes in the woods and we had to do a search party. But other than that,
and we actually, thanks to Dean and to Keegan, we did a load of really nice, I hope what was really nice recording on the last the end of Thursday and a lot of Friday, and that felt like that was something that we've got something. Even if however we managed to go forward with the making the rest of the show, we've got something to carry at least really nice that came out of the R&D.
Yes.
All right.
Great.
Well, we did.